exercise to do.
Swimming, running, lifting. I mean,
you look amazing, Steve. For 50, I mean, from one 50-year-old to another, you look amazing.
Well, but here's the irony. Drop my gym, working out, no weights at home, running in the natural heat. Actually, I'm going in the Rafa Nadal. Apparently, this is how Nadal trains. So think about it. He's about to become the greatest tennis player that ever lived, at least for a while, winning his 14th French Open. Okay. Doesn't belong to a gym. He runs the hills of Majorca that he used to run with his Uncle Tony when he was training to be a soccer player. Resistance bands. He does about 500 push-ups in the morning and 500 at night, about 800 crunches a day. He looks like Marvelous Marvin Hagler. Have you ever seen Nadal without his shirt? It's wow. I mean, it's amazing, right? But doesn't go to a gym. And for me, I quit the gym, and I'm in the best shape I've ever been in my life because I'm not having to drive there, put my stuff in the bag. You lose 20 minutes going to work out. Then you got to rush home to get home. You lose 20 minutes driving back.
Right.
So that 50 minutes I'm putting into my workout. And without hot tubs and steam rooms, I was doing the hot tub every day. I'm never going to hot tub again after COVID. I agree with my dad. He's a retired surgeon. He's like, that's a cesspool of infection. I mean, you jump into one of those things, he's like, you're going to get a disease. So, but the funny thing is my body feels looser as I quit the hot tub because I think those chemicals, it just can't be good. Maybe I'm germ freaking out about COVID, right? But
I get it.
Hey, Joe, but you are part of something that I've also heard is something that keeps people alive and keeps people young in spirit and everything. And I would argue Brian is part of that as well, because you said that you're a stand-up comedian. I know the kind of times that I've seen you on the different shows, you definitely give some great comedy and all of that. So I think that humor is an important part of us surviving and living as well. So if you could talk about humor and also maybe even a little bit about your reasons that you decided not to do stand-up comedy, because every time I see you had me laughing.
Oh man, the reasons why I stopped, I didn't want to do it anymore. That's funny. So in order, and it's what I used to tell people, and it's bad. It's weird to say it now, but if you think you could go in and be like and this is what I used to say, so you'll understand a little bit afterwards why I can't say it anymore. But if you think you're going to go in and be a Bill Cosby, a Robin Williams, or or one of the other great comedians, or I say Richard Pryor out there, you're wrong. Well, I can't use those names anymore because it just doesn't seem right on there. But that in my mind back in the day, because they were all three comedians I looked up to, even Eddie Murphy.
Right.
I couldn't. You have to put in so much time. And I was living in Boca Raton, Florida at the time, and you start looking at your life. Do I want money now, or do I want to live out of a car and travel and do things? I wanted money now, so I started. I just did it really on the side, and that was about it. But you are right. Humor has to be out there to keep you young, and I try to put jokes and a little levity in everything I do. My wife, we just had family over because personally, if I can segue into that a little bit, my second oldest daughter, or the second, however you want to put it, she just graduated high school.
And actually, Steve's got a kid that's getting ready to graduate high school as well. Isn't that right, Steve?
Oh, well, 2 more years.
2 more years, okay.
Get there. Yeah.
2 more, see? And I have another one at that time. She's going into being a sophomore, and my son just went into being a freshman in high school. But my daughter, she graduated. She's going to Ball State, and we had family over. And we have the family over, and when my nieces or nephews are over, they always say, you're my favorite uncle, that sort of thing, and we have a good time. And it's my wife. It's funny when the kids all get together and go, yeah, Dad's like, and my own children saying this, Dad's fun when everybody else is around. But when it's just us, it's like, no, you're doing this. And I'm going to tell you why. I don't know if any of you ever seen Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull, the Kingdom of the Skull. And when he found out that was his son, you remember when he found out Shia LaBeouf was his son? Well, before that, when they're talking, he's telling him, Shiloh's going like this. Yeah, my mom wanted me to go to college, do all this, blah, blah. He goes, listen, if it doesn't make you happy, if you want to fix motorcycles, you go fix motorcycles. You do whatever makes you happy. And so then when he finds out it's his son, it just turns it all around and go, and you're going back to college or whatever. And it was just funny because Shia LaBeouf said, well, what about what you said before? He goes, that was before I found out I was your father.
Wow.
And it's funny. That's how we are. I try to keep it light in the house, but I'm probably harder on my kids, and everything on the end, here. Hey, listen, you got to do your schoolwork. You got to do this. You got to do that. Versus when the niece and nephews come over, or when anybody, or my grandkids. Oh God, I love my grandkids. When they come over, it's just all, hey, let's have a good old time. So I think, and no stress. I know it's impossible to say no stress, but I did meet somebody. He was 76 years old, and his name's John. He's at a furniture store in Kokomo, Walls Furniture. And I've known John for a few years. I never knew he was 76 years old. Never knew. I thought he was a lot younger. And I go like this, John, what do you do? He goes, honestly, and he eats steak, burger. He was telling me the stuff he eats, which would probably be a no-no. I couldn't do that. My cholesterol probably goes straight up. But he did say, he goes, I don't worry about anything. I don't stress about things. And he goes, that's key. When you start stressing about things, it really wears down on your body. And I think there's a lot of truth to it. And the guy looks amazing. So
that's amazing and everything, but I'm oftentimes amazed when people say that one of the things that gets them, they'll ask the person that's 100 or, becoming part of the Century Club, how they made it. And a lot of times they'll tell you that they did everything that we're not supposed to do. They drank alcohol, they drank vodka. And I know we got our buddy Sasha that's on the network with us, or they drank, a fifth of whiskey, or they smoked umpteen packs of cigarettes. And I'm not a smoker, never have been a big fan. The smokers have actually even been turned off in some relationship type deals by folks that were in that gang. But if you're into smoking, that's cool as well. But it's just not my thing. And then, they'll even tell you that they did some things in terms of relationships and maybe having, multiple situations and all of that, but all kinds of things that you're not supposed to do to live long. And you're sitting there going but I was told that you're supposed to do this and you're supposed to do that. And y'all totally threw the rule books out the window. So
right.
I'm thinking that. Now,
if somebody told me that cigarette smoking will keep me younger, I'm going out and I'm getting the pack of Marlboro Box 100. So I'm going to go do that. My wife is a smoker, and it's fun. I stopped a long time ago. My oldest daughter came up to me and she goes, she was, I think, 6. She goes, Dad, would you not smoke anymore? Because I don't want you to die. I stopped. Yeah. I do smoke an occasional cigar once in a But I mean,
my uncle died, my dad's brother, and it's just sad. I mean,
from smoke, from cancer, or
no? Well, he died of a massive heart attack, but he was a very, very extensive smoker, and it's my dad's youngest brother, and he became a very close friend of mine because when I was a top tennis player and I lived in Delaware for a while, he would come every Friday I got so homesick. I lived away from my family. I was 12 hours from home. And he would come every Friday to take me back to Baltimore, give me an Indian meal, let me do my laundry, spend time in his apartment and come back. And he got so in shape the last 10 years of his life. He died in 2006. But the damage had already been done to his heart. And so one day he just collapsed. It was such a shock. And my father always protected this brother because the mother and father died when they were young. And the mother always told my dad, do everything you can to protect your brother. And he did everything. And the only time my uncle ever got mad at me, I would always thank my uncle. Uncle, as a kid, I would say, Uncle, thank you for picking me up. Thank you for picking up. One day he pulled the car off of an interstate. He stopped the car. I thought he was about to come out and kick my butt. And he says, don't you ever, ever thank me for helping my brother's son. He goes, I would die for you. I would take a bullet from my older brother. It was amazing, right?
Wow.
But the damage to his heart, the smoking, that to me was a shocker because he looked like $1 million. He lost 60 pounds, was working out 90 minutes a day. But I think also the stress killed him. He was, he worked until 60, but he was waking up at 4 a.m. to go and drive to Baltimore, to DC. And then he would work and then drive back and come back.
I wouldn't doubt it was probably, I mean, it has to be the stress. I mean, there's a lot to it, and there is a lot to it. I know that even for myself, there are times where I could be high strung, and I could tell them when I'm relaxed. That's how I love the Apple Watch. I wear it so when I start seeing things going up, the breathe thing comes on. Breathe. So it's like, all right, I'll calm down. But
yeah, I know I'm the same boat. I have a hard time relaxing. I'm very driven, and
right.
I just start my day at 6:30 in the morning, nonstop.
And Joe, I got that same impression from you, Joseph, that you're very much driven. But it seems to me like you using some of that drive even to not be overly driven. Like I know that sometimes I was actually watching, I think it was Michael Pardo show or one of the other LinkedIn influencers shows, and he was having Jarvis on, and they were talking about us sometimes being our own worst enemies, because sometimes you don't want to, like in that particular case, I think he had to fire somebody and he didn't really want to fire them because they were like part of his inner circle or part of his crew and everything, but they were bringing down a business and everything. But I just wondered if you could share a little bit with our audience about the need to be driven, but maybe not overdriven.
Well,
and also, go ahead.
No. I would tell you the need. That's the fine line. I don't want to ever tell anybody, don't be too driven. The one thing I would say is, and I go back to Stephen Covey with it, the emotional deposits you put in with your family and whoever you want to, whether it be in your family, with your personal life, the emotional deposits with people you work with, whoever it is, you got to do that, because when you're too driven and you just keep going, you're going to hurt someone. You're going to either hurt yourself. They're not going to respect you. Remember, there's other people, their time. When you're thinking about work, the people you work with, guess what? They might be doing other things.
Right.
So for myself, and I'll use me as an example, the good thing about being Joe, the finance guy, the retailers that sign up with me, I'm with them all the time. Like if they call me, I'm there. I will talk to them, whether it's a Sunday, whatever. If I don't answer, I'll call them back. But I'm always there to help them to try to grow their business, because I'm not the traditional finance guy. I'm the guy that will help them to grow their business. But in doing that, it has helped me to be able to relax more, because I worked hard in the beginning and I still work hard, but I'm working smarter now. And I'm taking more time with the family and doing things with them and helping them, helping out my retailers when they need to. So I still work the same hours, but it's a little bit more relaxing, because also I get so many referrals. I mean, when you do right by somebody, and the only thing that I've ever asked any of the retailers I work with, if I do right by you, do right by me and put my name out there. If you meet somebody that does jewelry, or you meet somebody online that does this, and they're looking for an alternative payment option, please send them my way. Have them go to my website, joethefinanceguy.com, and I will help them out. I will work with them and get them set up. So that's yeah. That's what, but I really believe in anything we do, the emotional deposits in people. And that's for everybody, because you never know when you're going to have to make a withdrawal.
Right.
And probably why my kids still love me, because I do put in a lot of emotional deposits. And there are times where I make withdrawals, but I put in a lot of deposits with them. And my grandkids are super amazing.
You look too young to be a grandfather, my friend.
I was going to say, you don't look like a grandfather, but I've got a friend of mine that's equally amazing. We've actually talked about even having an occasional date here and there, but then I sometimes have mixed feelings about that, because that's that whole, you heard of instant family? Well, this would be like instant grand family and everything. And I've not even had a family of my own yet, much less of course, I got my brother and my nephews and that family, but none that I created. I'll put it that way. But I've definitely have a couple of friends that have got kids, and in some cases grandkids. But I know this young lady who I don't think she's quite 50. She might be in her late 40s, but she's also looks very young for her age and actually sells like skincare business. She's got her own esthetician business. So I'm trying to figure out where you, Joseph, and you, Steve, found that fountain of youth. I've also been trying to figure it out for my dad as well, because he also looks young and still bikes and swims and does everything else. So I'm trying to figure out where y'all found it.
I got a little secret. My secret, to be honest with you, is I sleep 8.5 to 9 hours a night. I won't work my butt off until 8:30 or 9. And now I've gotten a habit. Even if I don't get my work done, I'll shut everything off. I'll turn off the lights. I'll do some breathing. I'll either read a book. I'm reading a little bit of Barack Obama's Promised Land. I have to read a lot now that I've sort of a new career on hosting a show for the TV network, Pod TV, IBM TV. I have my own radio show. I'm an analyst on TV, so I have to keep my mind very alert in addition to my public duties and having a job. But that's like a reserve tank. When I get that sleep, oh man, I feel so good in the morning that I will get up at 5 a.m. and I can knock out 3 to 4 hours of work that I would normally take me so long, right? And then voracious exercise, and then eating when you're hungry. That's my way. So I eat when I'm hungry. Small meals all day. I don't eat big lunches. I don't eat big breakfasts.
Right.
I don't eat big because I believe we eat, and I probably have lost 10 pounds, but that's my trick, is just stay active and alert.
More people should live to or eat to live, not live to eat.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, if I stood up right now, I've never missed a meal. I like all types of food, and it's for me. I think the reason why I've struggled with weight in the past was because of food. I just love food. However, you are right, Steve. The more sleep and the breathing, I could tell you when I do a good 7 to 8 hours, I'm on fire. It's almost like I wake up refreshed and ready to go. I do my devotions in the morning. I'll go out for a walk, and I'm doing great. So I'm with you on that. I also think, Steve, the reason why you look so good, you're a swimmer. I've seen that in so many people that have told me that they're swim. It really makes me really. I just need to go out to the pool more often.
Yeah, we have a new pool. Real quickly before I leave, we're getting the All-American City. We're going to find out tonight at 7:30 whether we won. But our pool is a saltwater chlorine, and it's so clean. The water doesn't have the chlorine smell, but it's really strange because when I belonged to the other gym before we renovated this gym, I could feel the stickiness of the chlorine on my body, and I lost a lot of hair actually over the years. And my father always thinks it was those chemicals that would just make the hair fall out. Now it's not growing back, but the water makes you feel so fresh. I mean, there's something about it. It's like when you go to the ocean.
Right.
Absolutely.
It
makes a difference. The fresh air, the ocean air, right, can help you deal with illness. But I've got to run, but I'd love to talk to you, Joe, about business and finance. I'm sorry I got a little off script on the immigration.
No, that's okay. Like I said, I did invite an immigration person, and hopefully they're going to pop in as well. But I invite several, and I do know that they had some schedule conflicts, so they did come in on my show earlier at the tail end because they live in the West Coast and everything. So like I said, they may still pop in or not pop in and all of that. But one thing I was curious, I was going to ask Joe, and if you could stick around for his answer, I'd love to hear it and everything, is we talk about finances and we talk about the importance of finances, particularly on retail, but we just are in the middle of this great pandemic. And of course, we're coming out of it because of the vaccines and everything. But I had heard that a lot of our retail businesses were not going to be able to make it. And a lot of them went under during this time and everything. So I was just wondering how that impacted your business, because definitely you are doing a lot of business of trying to help restaurants stay alive. And we have heard that a lot of our restaurants were not necessarily prepared. Of course, there are the various PPE loans and other things it can do to help them.
Well, when I deal with retail, remember it's actual, goods on there, like, wheels and tires, rims, furniture, mattress, jewelry, something that's tangible. Restaurants, we haven't. How I dealt with it, and I'll take you back to March of 2020 when it was really, everything was hitting the fan. The lockdown was coming.
Right.
And I remember one of my retailers on Facebook, he reached out to me and he goes like this, listen, you've always helped us do things. What would you suggest? And I remember the first thing I said was get on social media and be able to sell online. People are creatures of habit. I keep saying it. And what are we going to do? And I'm telling you from experience, when you're sitting at home for even if it's a few days, a couple weeks, whatever it is, you're sitting at home, you can't go out. You start seeing things that you want to fix. You know what? We need a new mattress. I've been meaning to get a new sofa. Man, you know what? We ought to get that sunroom. That was my thing. So anyways, so you start going around and looking at things of what needs to be fixed. And guess what we do? We still want it. We want it then. So I told them, I go, get on a website, start posting things, get it on social media, offer curbside assistance. I helped fund over $30 million last year during the pandemic.
Yes.
Because I started going through and telling the retailers, this is what I would do and course correct. And everybody else, even the company, came along with me. But I was doing it way before our company even started it. I was talking to them prior because it was important. If people aren't coming out to see you, then guess what you need to do? Go out there, get on the things that they're on. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, whatever it is to get your clientele in. That's what you do. You got to get them in. And being on social media constantly, it's hard. I mean, we are all, and Steve, I know as a politician, you are probably on social media all the time. I'm assuming. And it's hard. It is hard to be on there all the time. To be on, and what I mean by on, you being on your game all the time in social media, doing a post, doing whatever. It's not easy for everybody. And businesses are the same way.
Right.
If you're in a business, you're trying to go out there and do sales or whatever. Oh, you want me to get on this? Well, listen, if it's going to help your income in the future, yeah, I would get on it now and start doing it. And that's a lot of them did. They took that, after I talked to them, they took it, they started posting that, and they were getting people going, well, this is what I want. Now, we all know mattresses are more of a touchy-feely type. I want to touch it and see it before I buy it. It didn't matter. People still wanted things fixed. And that's what they did. So that's how I dealt with it, or how I helped. Yeah.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I'm glad you mentioned that. A friend of mine actually is friends with another young lady, and she actually created this Playful Sofa company, and they're actually doing quite well because they actually kind of, their brand started taking off even now doing COVID and everything. I think it's like, I'm trying to remember the name of it, and when it comes to me, I'll put it in the chat or put it out there. But it's definitely like they realized that kids were gonna, jump on sofas anyway. So it was like a sofa kind of company that you can create and actually do that on a regular basis, and you can tear it up in the whole 9 yards.
Guys, thank you so much. Keep your fingers crossed for Morrisville, All-American City in the great state of North Carolina, the 9th largest state in the union. Go Heels, go Duke, go State. And no, this is not a Trump hat. They've been asking me that all day, including my mother. It just says USA because I couldn't find my We the People hat. So, anyway. And that's
you, Steve.
Please connect with me, Steve.
I will. Thank you. Yeah, bye.
Appreciate you, Steve. Definitely appreciate you coming on. And I'm going to try to remember the name of that company. And if I do, I'll bring it up and everything. But they're actually a North Carolina-based company. But they were, like I said, taking off during this time as opposed to some of the other companies that have been struggling during this time. I just recently joined Clubhouse, and I've actually enjoyed it, definitely seen it as a tool, just like LinkedIn. So if you could share a little bit with our audience, because I know you're also a social media person. I know our friend Brian is considered a LinkedIn influencer.
Yeah, he's more of when people call me an influencer, I was going, you're nuts. I'm just a guy that's on on the platform, just trying to just spread joy, I guess, or LinkedIn leadership type things. But I love Clubhouse. I really do. Clubhouse. It's almost like, think back when we were kids, Mark, because we're about the same age.
Yeah.
Back when we were kids, and like where everybody was on the phone, like we had Party Line.
Mm-hmm. That's what it reminds me of. That's what I describe it as. I said it's the party line.
Right. That's all it is. It's a party line. And that's I remember being on it the first time, and I think Ira Bowman got on it with me, and a couple other friends. I think Damon Patuska and Nick Dorsey, and we were on it, and that's what we're all talking with each other, and that's all it reminded me of. It was Party Line. That's all it was. It was a way for us to talk through the phone, not even doing Zoom, but through the phone, and we can still do whatever work and just talk to each other, just like people just hanging out doing this. Yeah, hey, what's up? That's all it was. Yep. And Clubhouse, with any social media, and even with Clubhouse, you get to know different people. And I think it's all about people buy from people, and people do business with people. And just because, Mark, you and I know each other now, and you find out that other person, you never know who you're going to know that, hey, wait a minute, you need to talk to Joe, the finance guy. And the same thing with me when I'm out there, and not the way I know you made you said about the Midwest and how I am, or usually when people talk, I look like a Chicago gangster or whatever, because I am from Chicago. But it's more of when somebody comes up to me and go, hey, look, I'm looking for somebody that, does web designing. Well, listen, I know a guy, and I'll just, I'll put out Ira's, Bowman Digital Media. They're the ones that did my website. I have a partners tab that I try to put as many people as I can on there, because if somebody needs something, I want them to be able to go to my partners tab and go, oh, wait a minute, I need this. Great. Oh, I need help with recruiting. Let me go here. I need help with the resume. I need to call, Curtis Tompkins at Job Ready Today. Those are some of the things that, I try to do to help bring everybody into the fold. So it's not just that I'm out, just hustling for me. It's if I could help others, the more people you serve, the more money you're going to make, whether it be indirectly or directly.
That's very true. What do you think is the key to success for successful business? Like I said, I've never even asked, I don't think Brian this, but I definitely consider you a successful business person. I consider definitely Nancy a successful educator, but also a successful business person. And there are a number of others as well. But what do you consider the keys to successful business and to being a successful business person?
Oh man, this is good. All right. I hope I want to find it on here, because I took a picture of it today. So hopefully it pops up for me. But one of my friends, and Damon Pistulka, he talked about this today. We were on I had a conference call for work, and then I had to jump on this other one that he was hosting, and he's part of Exit Your Way.
Okay.
And one of the things he talks about, and he helps business owners, he helps businesses become better. And his company is called Exit Your Way. But as well as if they're looking to sell, how can they max the sale?
Gotcha.
And there were 4 things he talked about, and one was know the business roles in the business. Mm-hmm. Know each and every role that's going on in there. I thought that was great, because as he was going through this presentation, I was going, my God, this is, sometimes the hierarchy in any company, the CEO might not even know what the salesperson does over here, or even the grassroots people.
Right.
Because why? As we've heard it before, that, oh, well, they sit up in the ivory tower. Mm-hmm. Some of the best companies I know are the ones that ask the grassroots people and bring them in to partner with them to help grow their companies. So knowing the business roles are important. Setting goals and measuring the results. I can't stress it enough. Every day I look at where I'm at.
Well,
In any job you have, do you have set goals? Do you have your daily goals, your weekly goals, your monthly goals, your annual goals, whatever it is? You have to set goals of where you're at, because if not, you're just trying to hit a target that's not even there.
well,
And then you need to see where you're at every day. Look at it. Did I hit this? Did I not? What do I need to do to be better? It's all, and I know that goes into goal setting, really,
mhm.
but it's so true, because how many people don't even have goals out there, but they're trying to go out there. Oh, I'm trying to win. Well, what are you trying to get to?
Right.
I could tell you what I have to hit every single month for my job, and I could tell you how I have to do it because I measure it every day. So that's myself. Know your next steps. One of my best friends, I've known him for years. He's the godfather to my son. He's the CEO of Buddy Rents, and that man can play chess 3 or 4 steps ahead. I swear, I think he can play chess 10 steps ahead and know what you're doing.
Wow.
But you have to know what your next step is going to be, and it's important with anything you're in. And I use him as the example because he taught me so much of looking ahead. Look at trends.
Mm-hmm.
Look at where they're going, and I try to do that in the business world. Look at trends to see where things are, because ultimately there are things, you have the ebb and flow of business. Well, listen, what comes up must come down, right? Well, when you're at a certain high here in business, you better figure out how to keep it up there, or as you start going down, how you could level it off and go back up again. So you have to think about those next steps.
No, that makes a lot of sense. I know one of the things that I've always been curious about, and I was wondering how you dealt with it is, and I've brought it up on a couple of my shows here, not just the Online Dinner Party, but a couple of the other ones as well, is the folks that I call the dream sellers, the folks that no matter what your ambitions are, they always want to defeat your goals and don't want to be encouraging you. So I'm sure, and sometimes they might even come out of your own family or your own circle of friends and all of that. So I was wondering, how have you dealt with those in your life? And the other thing that I was going to compliment you on is I remember that when I used to work as a receptionist at the Arts Council, there were a few people that would always speak to people that even those of us that might be the receptionists and things of that nature, because they knew that wasn't like our be all end all job, or even if it was a job, it was going to be a life job. They still had respect for people no matter what they were doing. And I think that Martin Luther King even said, like his famous quote about, if you're going to be the best janitor, if you're going to be a janitor, be the best janitor there is, and something along those lines and everything. But I'm just wondering your thoughts about dream stealers and also about encouraging and even having good words for people at different levels, because we know that definitely in corporate America, there are people that are like the janitors and the maids, but there are also folks that are the big bosses, as you talked about.
Well, I would say, I go back to, and I know I'm name dropping on a lot of people that I am friends with, but I don't want to just say it's just from me, because success leaves clues. People out there have done these things and they've been successful at it. But Randy McNeely is one of them. He's the chief kindness giver, and he practices gratitude every day. And that's why, just by telling somebody, I appreciate you, I appreciate what you're doing, whether it be personally, whether it be professionally, it's doing that. And that same thing goes back to the emotional deposit, because are you putting those emotional deposits into people by saying how much you appreciate them? My wife would tell you that I wasn't all about getting raises. I was more about the accolades.
Gotcha.
If somebody told me, hey, listen, you're doing a good job, I was probably just like a puppy dog wagging its tail. Thank you very much. Because that's how I was. That's how I thought I was. If somebody gave me a compliment, it made me want to do more for them. So that was my thing. But I think that even when we have people that are like the higher ups, I would say if I was a CEO or anything, I would pick 10 people a day and just call them up and go, hey, listen, I just wanted to tell you, thank you for what you're doing. And I appreciate you being on the job. And another thing on the talking about the higher ups, this just came into my mind. Birthdays.
Right.
Birthdays are so important to people. And some people might tell you that it's not important. For me, I celebrate the whole month of October. It's called Joe-tober. So that's my month. And I've always been, I love my birthday, everything. So when I got a card from my work, ASEMA, and it was a handwritten card.
Right.
Handwritten. It had a picture of Indiana, like an Indiana Jones on there, because I would call myself Indiana Joe.
Right.
I Indiana. And it had it on there, and they just a quick note on happy birthday. We appreciate everything that you do. That meant more to me than anything. Who does that? We don't see it that often anymore. But if more people would do that, you get more people that want to be with somebody than have to be. If that makes sense to you. You want to be with a company versus, well, I have to stay here. You want to be with them because they appreciate you. So, and I'll leave you one other thing with gratitude, and I got this from Alon Ziebert today on one of the advisory board calls. That was today. And he called up Kelly Robinson. It was 2-second call. Hey, I just wanted to call you up, just tell you, I wanted to give you a big hug. That was it. And then he hung up. Just to say how grateful he was. And how long does it take? It's a 5-second call. That's it. Just tell somebody, hey, I appreciate you, and just giving you a big hug. Amazing. And it makes people feel so good because of the gratitude that's going around. The last thing that you said about business is document, system, and processes. Knowing a system and knowing processes. I just wanted to get all 4 of them out there so I could do Damon some justice on that. So.
Now, that makes a lot of sense. I know that even there's a big festival. Of course, we haven't had it recently because of the whole thing going on with the pandemic, and haven't had it now for this will be the 2nd year. But it was the Eno Festival, and it was actually held around the same time as my birthday and everything. So I used to call it my birthday party.
See, you know what I'm talking about. Well, that's good. And then hopefully this year we're going to celebrate it, right?
Yep. I hope we're going to celebrate it next year.
All right, next year. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
this year it's going to be a virtual event.
Well, mine is, Halloween. I always thought that it's great that everybody goes around and gets candy from everybody else's house in honor of my birthday. That's just awesome. So I think it's great. But.
No, I definitely, like I said, I would come onto the stage because I would MC the event. And I would always say that it's actually my birthday and everything. So I would get up there and announce, we're celebrating the 4th of July. It's always the 4th of July weekend. But just secretly, it's really y'all are here for my birthday party.
And that's what I'm talking about.
Didn't know that.
And we're going to have a good fireworks show at the end.
Exactly.
You just hold on. These are my candles. I know. That'll be good. So now I'll be thinking about that this 4th of July weekend. So
yep,
good.
Exactly.
Yep.
So definitely, that's one of the things that's been going on and everything. But I was just thinking about a lot of the business advice that people should be getting and all of that. And I've been helping a friend of mine with a business conference, and he's been having this theme going on. And I'd love to hear your thoughts about this, because I actually think it's a good theme. And I know the guy that's created it would like to make it a national brand, kind of like what we would say about Nike and about a couple of other brands. But he's of the opinion that genius is common. And it's basically an idea that in some ways we all have a genius in us and everything. So I was wondering your thoughts about that, and whether that's a kind of motto that you could live by, and if you ever lived by that kind of motto, because I know he's been even having some celebrities like Malik Yoba and others that have made comments around that.
Well, everybody has it in them. I think Socrates said it best, is learning is remembering. We already knew this stuff. We're just starting to remember, just when it just comes back to us. And I really believe that we all have genius in us to do something great.
Right.
the Joe the finance guy. The reason why that all came up was because of I was going into a career that there were so many other finance or no credit needed options out there, including rent to owns, like different rent to own or lease to own options that people could go into. What would make what I'm selling better than all them? So then I started thinking about this and talking to my wife, and she came. I have to give it to my wife. She's the one that came up with Joe the finance guy.
Well,
the actual thing, and she came up. She made the logo and everything. So my wife owns Joe the finance guy,
literally and figuratively.
I guess she. Yeah, I keep forgetting about that because after I said I do. But anyways, she did all that. But when Joe the finance guy was supposed to be a brand. So when I'm going out to talk to people, that it was different. I wasn't, Acima, the company I was working for. I'm a brand unto myself, Joe the finance guy. And
right.
But you don't only get Acima, you also get different ways of how to grow your business. If you wanted to start an e-commerce business, well, I could tell you what to do. You need a website, you need a product. You need a payment solution on your website. There you go. And then you need marketing tools. Voila. Those 4 things. And it's probably about $1,000 you need to start to open that up. That was the whole thing of Joe the finance guy, of what I could do to help people. And not only, and I use e-commerce right now as an example, but it was also like, well, how do you want to sell your product now? I believe there was 3 ways of selling a product in a store. You have to have a catchy slogan, for one. So, thanks for calling Joe's Furniture, home of the take it away layaway. People, the first thing a person's going to ask you is, take it away layaway, what's that all about? Because nobody's ever heard of that. And it's a way for you to go, listen, you come on in, you get approved up to $5,000, you get what you want, you get to enjoy it in your home, and as long as you pay it off in 90 days, that's it. You got to enjoy it. And you got in your home, and you paid it off in 90 days, almost like a layaway, except you get to enjoy it in your home.
Right.
So the slogan. The second thing was, do you have a website presence? Do you actually have a website that has a banner on it for a payment option? People need that. Hey, listen, if you have your website on there, do they have a payment option on there? Do they know they could click on something to go get it? And then the third thing would be social media. Are you using social media because that's important nowadays. Right. I mean, look at TikTok, Instagram, all those things. Are you doing that to get more people in? Because there's a lot of people out there on social media that when they see something, they'll go buy it.
Yep.
And you know what I'm talking about, Mark, because we have on LinkedIn Influencer Active.
Right.
That people are out there and you see different things on LinkedIn that they're selling different gadgets or whatever. Because when people see something, human beings, creatures of habit, when people see something, what do? Oh, wow, I need that. Same thing. Social media, get on there. If you put your product on there and you advertise maybe the soup of the day,
right?
What's your special for the day? Guess what? They're going to either call you or find out. You'll probably have more luck getting rid of the items if you're on social media. So I hope I didn't go long with that one, Mark. But
no, not long at all. As a matter of fact, I'm going to put on a poem because I've got to actually do one of those, what does Nancy call them? Bio breaks and everything. But if you'll hear the poem, it's about a 3-minute poem. And when we come back, we might get ready to have some more conversation because I'm thoroughly enjoying you. And I think you'll enjoy this poem.
No problem. Thank you.
The difference between thinking and doing and living in the 21st century.
Was that the bio break?
Oh, hold on.
The difference between thinking and doing.
Things are not wanting to work the way that they're supposed to. Isn't that always the case?
Yes, it is.
Are you looking for money-saving strategies for your business and personal finances?
You gotta love.
Are you tired of working hard every
Are you ready? Are you ready?
We might just have to do it the old-fashioned way. I'm going to let Joe share a little bit of his just wise wisdom while I pop off the screen and do it the old-fashioned way. So if you can tell the folks maybe a little bit about your choice, and then I'll be back in about 3 minutes.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. I guess I wouldn't really even know what to say really on there. And if you guys have any comments, I can't see it on here. So if you have anything, please pop them in comments and I'll be able to look at it, I believe, on here. But Joe Stepke, I host Cup of Joe on Friday nights on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. So one of the things that you will see on this coming Friday is Michael Ray. Michael Ray is going to be one of the guests, or he's actually co-hosting with me on Cup of Joe Friday nights, and it starts at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. Pacific. So please come on and enjoy there. I'll put the link in comments. Well, actually, I'll have to send it off to Mark when he comes in. And I'd try to ask if any of you guys have anything, but let me know. You know, we're here, and I know that he's doing it the old-fashioned way, and I'm going to try to, hold on a minute, do the same thing. So hold on 1 minute.
The difference between thinking and doing and living in the 21st century. They teach us about being a real quarterback-oriented games. We don't have to just use video games and live in the shadows of good things because of them. We grow up with agility far larger and bigger than we are tall. Parents are the champions and have to be our first life coaches and know-it-alls. Who knows how this came to be? Coaches will ask you if you know your right foot from your left, if you know yourself, if you act knowingly good or bad, if you can move and negotiate a field with style and form, if you can tackle or throw a pass, or if your last name is that of a clown. If you can let someone know on the team that you are in trouble before you cause yourself or someone else trouble. If you are ready to learn teamwork or aware that you started out today with your pants down or your sportsmanship was left on the kitchen table, if you know the social studies, the alphabets, science, music, characters, and the stats and the numbers of a great student player eligible to stay on the team, and if you know the poise of great athletic champions and their scientific attitudes that are historical or music to us now, if you have the swag of the game, the discipline, the performance, and artistic form down pat, and if you have the style of gymnastics that the sport has with life, if you have the work ethic and determination to make it all seem easy and not a game at all, if you have the knowledge of all the above, or you don't know things like this even make the difference, I think that when it comes to the importance of parents and their field and self-knowledge, wisdom, virtues, and courage, their teachings, love, respect, care that they illustrate on the field and in the grind of life with their actions and their ideas, experiences, muscle, and strategic magic and skills wrapped around us with their priceless love. For their verbs to be that make us winners in this hard and fast third century that without them, kids and adults, athletes could hardly see or do anything at all. Parents teach us the difference between playing video games and playing on the field. Parents teach us how to be champions. A huge hug should go to parents, coaches, and parent-like community people who have love on the field for you and who are champions for your life, both in and out the games.
Are you ready?
My coach, Barbara H. Smith. Why did I hire her? Because she's the best.
Barbara H. Smith is a powerhouse. She just walks in the room and grabs your attention, and she does that in a way that just makes you feel loved and like she's paying attention to you, she cares about you, and she wants to see you be your best self.
The coaching that I am receiving from Barbara H. Smith gives me confidence.
She was able to dig inside and find the passion that was deep within me.
Barbara's energy is one of the reasons that I had to have her as my coach. I love the way she is real with people.
The reason I felt like I needed a coach was because I have some big goals and I needed to build my confidence. I knew that Barbara could help me do that.
One conversation with Barbara H. Smith and she will be able to tell you what it is you're missing.
I felt that I could trust her.
I would definitely recommend to get coaching from Barbara H. Smith if you feel like you need to level up your confidence. She would just help you feel like bold, like you can take on the world.
She has really shown me who I am. She has changed my mindset to a place that I know that I am more powerful today than I would have ever been if I had never met Barbara Smith.
Are you looking? Are you looking? Are you looking for
doing exceedingly well and I'm not quite there. You hear all of those things.
That's a edition of the online dinner party. I want to thank Joe for popping in. We were having some technical difficulties, but we're going to try to get him back on at another time. And of course, definitely an enjoyable conversation and all of that. And I was having some still technical issues and all of that, but I'm going to leave it open in case the immigration person comes in, and we'll see what happens in that regards. But definitely do know that there's a lot of things going on in society and all of that. So just keep that in mind.
That you have. No one has the education and all of those things that I mentioned that you have. So there's no way to be an imposter. There's no way that their two brands can be absolutely identical. They are the sum of all of your parts. So that is how you're building a brand that is uniquely yours. Another thing I wanted to touch on again is marketing.
I'm advancing the slides because she's not following the script. So I heard her say clientele, so I got on clientele. But and then the next slide, and I've been following the storyline. The next slide is look good, feel good, do good, and I haven't heard her say anything about that.
Knowing who they are,
Oh, she did?
knowing what their persona is, and not
All right, let me go ahead and
deviating away from them. So they are literally your clients. They know, you know who
Because
they
now
are.
she's talking about clients again.
They know who you are, and so when you speak to them, they are ultimately, you're gonna get their attention right away. You have about 3 to 5 seconds to get your target audience's attention as online. So when you are speaking directly to them, when you are using language and
I'm just trying to follow her script, but I mean, I don't know what the script is. So like I said, I'm just kind of, I'm going by what I hear.
One of your brand assets, your slogans,
It's his idea of reality TV.
Those are the things that are going to get the attention of your specific target audience. Not everyone's your audience. The better you get at knowing that and really drilling down on who your clientele is and who your target audience is, the better you're going to be at marketing to them. I can't stress that enough. So it's okay if you don't have 50,000 likes on social media. Likes don't equate to dollars. It is absolutely okay if you don't. When you're building your brand, build it slow and steady so that, again, it's the sum of all your parts.
You think I should advance the slide or should I wait?
Target audience, and you know very specifically who your target audience is, and drill down on what their needs are and what resonates with them. So even if you have 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 followers on social media, it's okay. Because if you've gotten really good at knowing who your target audience is, then they'll, guess what? Those 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 likes on social media.
I think she was rushing through it. I don't even know if she was following her own script.
Paying for your services and paying for your products. And that's what you want, to get really granular. And
No, she's not. Like I said, she wasn't advancing herself. It was stuck on the one page. That's what I was trying to.
Likes and followers don't always equate to dollars. So don't be so bogged down by that. As I mentioned before, you want to give your clients an experience that they're absolutely going to remember. And so with that, knowing that you are going to get those testimonials, knowing that they're going to be advocating for you, that they are going to be cheerleading for you, championing for you, when you're not even around.
Go back up to the testimonials.
One of the other ways to build your unique brand, making sure that you have those folks in place who you've given them a stellar service, you've given them an amazing product, and now they want to talk about it. They want to tell others about it. And so that's why testimonials are important. That's why you always want to give people an experience that they absolutely will.
I think all I can actually tell you on the,
never forget.
I can tell you on the main one because I kept it up on the PowerPoint too.
Telling everybody about your business and really truly
Hold on 1 second.
with the masses. Another thing that I wanted to remind you of is your brand story. When you're an expert, you're an influencer, you're doing all of these things in your community, in your industries.
Caught up some kind of way. I don't know how we caught up, but
you have a brand story. Your brand story starts
got Eric's dropped out.
when you're conceptualizing your brand, your unique brand, but it also continues to take shape as you become more experienced and as you become more of an expert. So your brand story does evolve a bit. and that's perfectly fine. So as I mentioned, you're an influencer. Continue to go out there and influence. Continue to go out there to inspire. Continue to go out into your communities and do wonderful things. Continue to build a brand that you're proud of. That's the sum of all your parts, but also a brand that is uniquely yours and that's getting recognized and is gaining momentum throughout your industries and in your areas, because ultimately that's what leads to more business opportunities. So continue to do that. Tell your brand story as much as possible. Share your knowledge with the masses. Don't hold back. One of the worst things that an expert and an influencer can do is to hold all of the knowledge for themselves, to not share it with your followers, to not share it with your community, to not share it with those who look up to you as a mentor or a coach or whatever capacity you may be in. The worst thing you can do is to hold all of that for yourself. Anyone who knows me, anyone who's in my sphere of influence, whether it's my partners or my community, if they ask me for business advice, I mean, I've been really fortunate to have 27 years in corporate, and I brought that corporate knowledge into my business, and I brought those resources and those tools into my business so that I can have the best brand and the best business that I can possibly have. And so with that, I realized that a lot of people were not fortunate enough to go to college like I did. A lot of people were not fortunate enough to have a father who was an entrepreneur, to have the corporate experience and the business acumen. And so I don't hold any of that all to myself. I realize that everyone's not as privileged in that regard. And so being an expert, being an influencer, it also, there's a certain level of responsibility as well. And with that responsibility means that we then have to go out and share the knowledge that we've learned with our industries and within our communities, and within our businesses and in our brands. And so don't feel like you have to hold it all to yourself. Trust me, there'll be many more blessings that come down the pike. It's not a concern of somebody stealing your ideas, because when you build a brand that's uniquely yours, guess what? It's yours. It's yours. It's not anybody else's. Nobody can steal it. Nobody can take it from you. You just continue to build on what you believe in and continue to build on the sum of all of your parts, as I mentioned. So you all have something inside of you. Your brand, if you're like me, your brand is like your baby. So you want to build it slow. You want to build it steady. You don't want to build it too fast. You want to make sure that everything that you've researched, everything that you've studied, everything that you've experienced, as I mentioned, you bring it into your brand so that it is true to who you are. That's how it's, again, uniquely yours. Okay? That's how it's uniquely yours. It's true to who you are and your experience. All right? And so you want to continue to build on it and give it everything that you have in order to make it something that you're really, really proud of. And with everything we've mentioned and everything I've mentioned in this presentation, that's the way in which you can build a brand that is uniquely yours. Okay? Something you can be proud of. Something that no matter where you are in the world, in the country, in your business, if people go do a Google search, or if they go onto social media and they research you, and trust me, people are doing that. They have this free resource, you know, it's the internet is free, social media is free, those are free resources. Even employers are doing that. So even when you're building your personal brand, employers are going online and they're using these free resources to research you, to see if you're even going to be a good fit within their companies. And so it's really important that when you're building a brand that's uniquely yours, think about that every step of the way. Think about that personal brand that you've built or you're building, as well as that professional brand that you're building that you can be proud of. Again, one that your clients and your prospects, anyone who's thinking about partnering with you or thinking about doing business with you, they can, if they see your online presence or they see you in person, they're going to say, that's someone that I want to do this with. That's someone that I connect with. That's someone that I know I like it and I trust based on what I've seen. That's what's going to help you to take your brand to the next level, build that brand that's uniquely yours, unlike anybody else's, that you actually have control over. You have control over your brand. Even if you look at it from a negative perspective, which sometimes there are things out there that we might hear or see about our brand that might not be as favorable as we would like. You have control over trying to do some damage control and get ahead of that and writing your narrative. Okay, writing your own narrative. And with social media, especially, it makes it a lot easier to do that now than ever. So what I hear from a lot of businesses that we work with is like, I don't necessarily want to put myself out there too much. I want to expose myself personally too much to my target audience. I feel like there's some privacy that I need to maintain, and I assure you there's a balance to doing that. But and because people do business with people they know, they like, and they trust, you have to open yourself up to some of that personal bleeding into professional, because people ultimately want to cheer you on. When you're building a brand that's uniquely yours, you build followers, you build champions, you build cheerleaders, you build people who really want to see you do well. And so with that, they want to see all the parts of you. They want to see you in your home life, they want to see you with your kids and with your pets, and how you are in your community. hundreds work with hundreds of
All right. We had a great conversation with Joe, and you're ready to wrap up this edition, abbreviated edition of the online dinner party. And we're going to see if any of our other people come by. And if they do, we may just come up and set up another show with them and everything. But we're going to see if they come in or not. But right now, we're going to end where we are. But we may do more with our immigration people later on, as well as one of our filmmaker friends also.
What are you going to do with